And we are live. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? This is Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Welcome to another episode of Speaking with Judgment, hosted by Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. And tonight I am joined by Coach Dante. It's always a pleasure to do a show with Coach Dante. He's one of my favorite co-hosts. He's one of the best. And I mean, this dude's a workhorse. He puts in a lot of work. He puts in a lot of time. And if you want the true definition of a grind, you're looking at him right there next to me. This dude grinds every day, non-stop. What's up, Coach Dante? How you
What's
feeling,
good? What's good, man? What's good, man? Happy to be back on the show, man. Ready to talk some ball, man. We got free agency starting Friday. I'm ready, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, the free agency bonanza, right?
Yep.
Um, July. I mean, there's no NBA basketball, no summer league is around
Yep.
the corner, but free agency is always fun. Sometimes
Yep.
free agency is actually more exciting than the games itself, than the
Yep.
playoff games,
Yep.
because you're interested to see where players are going to go. There's going to be players on the move. You're going to have trades. You're going to have new faces in new
Yep.
places, and it's always exciting, and that kind of shakes up the league, right?
Yep.
When you see a player go elsewhere, so it's going to be interesting to see how things all fall in place. We got a lot of topics to get into tonight. We got a great show for you guys. I've got the
Yep.
list of topics in front of me. Dame recruiting Draymond Green to Portland. We'll talk about that. And how does CP3 fit in Golden State? We'll talk about that. And Dante, are the
Yep.
Celtics the clear favorites in the East? We'll also get into that. Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. I'm so sick of this debate, and I'm going to settle the score tonight when we get into that. I'm going to settle the score, and I'm going to tell you guys why. And then we're also going to get into a little Dolphins talk, because the Dolphins have offered Dalvin Cook a contract. We'll talk
Yep.
about that too, and more, much more in the NFL as well. But
Yep.
first, we're gonna start off the night with the NBA, because the NBA, there's a lot of trade rumors right now, and it's that time of year when you hear a lot of rumors, because we reached a dead point in sports. It's one of the slowest times of the year on the sports calendar. There's not much going on, so of course we're gonna rave and talk endlessly about some
Yep.
of these rumors that we're hearing, and one of them is apparently Blazer star wants the team to pursue Draymond Green.
Yep.
Damian Lillard's dream scenario this summer is Draymond Green coming to Portland.
Yep.
Uh,
Coming to Portland. Yep.
I don't know what to make of this, because you was hearing rumors about 2 weeks ago that Damian Lillard wanted to team up with the Miami Heat. Now, we don't know how true that was, because we all know that Damian Lillard has been very loyal to the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep.
And that's why he doesn't have a championship ring on his finger, because he's too damn loyal to a franchise that has oftentimes done zero to nothing to build around him.
Yep.
They have made it real clear that they do not want to build a championship contender around him, because if they were studious enough, or they were serious enough to actually build around him, they would have done it by now. But what do you make of this story? It's an interesting one. I don't know. To me, he might need to wake up to the reality of the Trailblazers salary cap. Draymond Green is going to want a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, this seems like a pipe dream right about now. This seems like a dream that is not realistic. One that, you know, uh, Damian Lillard thinks could work, obviously. Uh, Draymond Green, I don't know how much more he would help the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, I still think you need some help in the front court, but I'm gonna hand over the floor to you. Tell me your thoughts on this.
Even if they somehow do get Draymond Green, even if they somehow do land him, I don't think it moves the needle. Not in the Western Conference, I don't believe so. It does, but other than that, like I say, man, I'm probably the only one on the fence to this. I believe Dame can be the best player on a championship team. I believe he's shown you've seen him quite enough that you know he can knock down a big shot when it matters the most. The problem is, even when you bring up LaMarcus Aldridge, he couldn't even make it with LaMarcus Aldridge. Can you convince me that LaMarcus Aldridge team with Nicholas Batum, Wesley Matthews, those guys were better than San Antonio? I don't think you would think they were better than San Antonio during those times. I don't think you could say they were better than San Antonio. But other than that, he got to the Western Conference Finals with CJ McCollum as one of his best players, as probably the second best player on the team. And you could argue they could have won every game in that series until they lost them in the fourth quarter. But other than that, I just believe Dame has been too loyal to the franchise. The franchise really hasn't put a lot of players around him, hasn't put a lot of players around Damian Lillard as well. But other than that, I just don't think getting Draymond Green is moving the needle, or if they're gonna resign, make an attempt to resign Jerami Grant. I don't think Draymond Green and Jerami Grant moving the needle. Jusuf Nurkic never could stay on the court. He's not on the court all the time. But Portland do got a big decision to make. You made the decision to draft Scoot Henderson. You got Anthony Simons in your backcourt. What are you going to do? Are you planning on keeping Damian Lillard? You keep saying you're going to bring Damian Lillard some help. And all of a sudden, by Damian Lillard not putting the pressure on the front office, that makes it seem like he doesn't want to leave. You haven't heard Damian Lillard go up and put pressure on the front office. I believe it's going to take for him to get up out of Portland, it's going to take Damian Lillard to go to the front office and put pressure on that front office and say, man, I want out. I think it's time for us to go in a different direction. They already showed, hey, Scoot Henderson is the future of this team. He's the future of this team. We're going to build around Scoot Henderson. We're going to build around Shaedon Sharpe. And we're going to build around Anthony Simons. Those are your young guys of the future for Portland. So if Damian Lillard doesn't put the pressure on the organization is going to convince that he's going to want to stay.
Don here makes a good point. He said, here's the problem, is players don't want to play in Portland. It's not an intriguing city. There's not much happening in Portland. It's here on the West Coast. It's gloomy as hell there. It rains a lot. It's not a big market team. They only have one major team, which is the Portland Trail Blazers. You only have one dynamic superstar. That's Damian Lillard. He's a veteran superstar. You don't really have talent around him. You have to wait for a younger player to develop now. That's Scoot Henderson. And what that move signaled to me was that Damian Lillard is on his way out. I think at some point Dame gets traded. I don't see him staying in Portland. Dame has his sights on one particular veteran. Okay, that's okay. Who has beaten him in 10 straight playoff games, mind you. He has his sights set on this guy, but he may not even be with the Portland Trail Blazers. It's a dream scenario this offseason. He could be moved somewhere else. And I know Green and Lillard probably have cultivated this relationship. They want to go medal together for Team USA at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. And the Portland Guard has long been an admirer of Green. Especially as the Blazers have struggled to build a strong defense around their star scorers. So I get that Draymond Green is this tough, in-your-face defender, but you still don't have another quality shooter to really go alongside Dame. Yes, you got Scoot Henderson, but Scoot Henderson, yes, he's polished, he's NBA ready, but that's putting a lot of pressure on a young guy. That's asking a lot of a young guy when you don't really have another veteran to surround him with, And last year you saw Leonard, he scored 40 or more points 15 different times, and Portland lost 6 of those games, including where he went for 50 against Cleveland. So, what does that tell you about the Portland Trail Blazers? That they don't have a lot of talent. And Draymond, we see this all the time, right, with players. They win their championships, and then they go to a team that's more inferior. We see that. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Draymond Green, if the money is there, if the money's on the table, and if he's offered a hefty penny, he's not going to turn it down. He's most likely going to join that team. He would be probably willing to go to Portland. Who knows? I don't know. Would he want to join another title contending team? I mean, he has a great relationship with LeBron. He even hinted at the possibility of joining the Lakers because of how much he appreciates LeBron and how much he respects his game. And there's been rumors that he has been linked to the Los Angeles Lakers, that he could end up playing for the Los Angeles Lakers next season. So, I mean, at this point, it's really a wait and see game. It's really a wait and see game to see where Draymond Green ends up. But Portland, that's interesting.
That's interesting. It doesn't move the needle at all. I don't think even if you get those guys, you're still not going to win. I don't think you're still not even close to winning a championship. Are you close to beating Denver? I don't think you're close to beating Denver, even with Draymond Green. Hell, you won't even beat the Lakers with Draymond Green. And the Lakers got decisions to make this offseason as well, which is I think they will pay Austin Reeves. I think it's safe to say they will pay Austin Reeves. If it takes Rui Hachimura to walk, then I'll let him walk and pay Austin Reeves, because Austin Reeves right now, your main priority, you got to get him back. You got to get him back. It's a must you get him back before you sign anybody. It's planted that D'Angelo Russell will be staying with the Lakers. He is going to re-sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. Report just came out. But other than that, Portland, will they be better? They probably may. It depends on what moves Dallas will make. It depends on what moves they will make. You can argue, will they be better than even Dallas? They may be better, slightly better than Dallas. Sacramento, I don't think they'd be better than Sacramento. So I don't think they held. I don't think they even be better than OKC. I really don't think they be better than OKC if they may still even make those moves. But Portland got to answer some questions. Do you really want to go forward as Damian Lillard and Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons as your backcourt? How you going to manage these guys' minutes? That's something Portland's got to figure it out, man. They really got to figure that out. And if I'm Damian Lillard, like I said, I'm putting the pressure on the front office to make a move, man, to make a move.
But that's the thing. The front office hasn't made a move. They haven't made a move. They have pretty much wasted Damian Lillard's prime. And Damian Lillard has wasted valuable time, his precious time, in a city on a team that has done little to build a contender around him. I mean, at some point, that's got to be frustrating.
That is.
I understand that. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's going to get criticized no matter what. He's loyal to the team. He gets criticized. If he goes and joins the super team, he gets criticized. He has gone on record to say that he does not want to join a super team to build a championship. He wants to do it the hard way. He wants to grind for a championship. He wants to do it without a superstar playing alongside him. When in today's NBA, most of these players would jump the ship and go join forces with a stacked team to try to win an NBA championship. I mean, we see it all the time in this era.
Yep.
Man, we got more to talk about. We're going to move on now. We're going to move on to a topic that I've talked about in recent weeks. You might have seen me do a video on this. And next topic on tonight's menu is how does CP3 fit in Golden State? I'll let you have the floor first. I want to hear from you on this.
It just depends on. I would guess it just depends on what Draymond Green does. I think it depends on if he stays or if he goes. Because if he stays, you will still have a lineup of Draymond Green, Kevon Looney in that lineup, and you will still have Andrew Wiggins, and you will still have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Now, if Draymond Green goes, who do you put at the 4 position? Who do you put at the 4 position if he doesn't stay? who you're gonna rock with at the 4 position. So I think right now, Chris Paul, best bet is on the bench. I think right now he's got to come off the bench as a 6th man. I think if he comes off the bench as a 6th man, give Curry a little bit of rest, command that second unit. I think he will flow better. Depends on how he's playing. Hell, he maybe can stay in the game for a stretch. Depends on how he's playing to go wire to wire minutes, get down a stretch minute. It depends on how he's playing. But I think the best thing for CP3, I think, is coming off the bench and being a 6th man. I don't think the starting lineup, you're not going to put Klay Thompson on the bench, but I think it's all depends on where you go with Draymond Green. Where does Draymond Green is? And then if he does leave, who will the Warriors go in that starting lineup? Because it's rumored that you're trying to trade Jonathan Kuminga. He's not getting the time to develop the right way. You still got Moses Moody over there on the bench. Maybe he can slide in, play a little 4 for you a little bit. But I think the Warriors, they're gonna need to get somebody in the free agency mark, like a stretch 4 or something like that. They're gonna need to get another person just in case. If Draymond Green goes, what is the plan B? But I think, as far as Chris Paul fit, I think for right now, I think he realized this is probably a last window for me to win a championship. I thought that window had been closed, but the Warriors are trying their best to keep that championship window open, keeping these guys. So other than that, I think his role as of right now, I think it should be 6th man coming off the bench and commanding that second unit while Steph is getting those valuable minutes up out of the game.
Mo is in the building. Mo says, "What's good, guys?" Key is watching as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. What's up, Jonathan and Dante? Mo also says, "I think the Dubs aren't done with their roster construction. I think they're far from being done. I think Mike Levy wants to put a stamp on that team, make a name for himself. He is now the new general manager, and he wants to show what he can do. A lot of this roster now he has inherited, and I'm pretty sure as a new general manager on the block, there is some moves that he would like to make this team more attractive and to say, hey, I can do this. I'm fit for this job, and we're going to make some changes that could make our team better and stay in contention. To me, this might be, dare I say it, the best trade for the Golden State Warriors. And the reason I say that is because now Steph Curry can get some rest. When he goes on the bench, you have a grown man who can actually come off the bench, or you can even put him in the starting lineup, wherever you want him to go. You can insert him into the offense. You can plug him into the offense, and he will keep the ball moving. The ball will flow. The offense will flow. You would get great ball movement with Chris Paul on the floor. Now, I know that he is age 38 now, and he gets hurt at the worst possible time. That's the knock on him, is that he gets hurt in the playoffs when his team needs him the most. And that was problematic in Phoenix, right? His injuries, him catching the injury bug. But he could be huge. He could be huge for Golden State because he can come off the bench. He can provide some offense for you. He can initiate the offense, and he can run the offense in Steph Curry's absence. Let's say if Curry goes down with an injury, he can do well running the offense. And I understand that people have their concerns about Chris Paul and that they're saying he's washed up and all this other stuff, but he fits perfectly with Golden State because you have Klay Thompson, who was inconsistent last season, but when he's on, he's on. He can knock down his threes. You have Steph Curry, who's one of the most purest shooters in the game, and it was clear to us that Chris Paul was one of the most attractive targets potentially available. And the Warriors, they aggressively pursued him. They were very interested in him. They made it happen. And not only does this vastly improve your roster, but it makes you competitive. It gives you more depth. You have more depth. in on your roster. That's basically what it is. You got another guy that you can turn to if things are not working out. And I mean, this was also a salary dump. I mean, say whatever you want to say about it. It was a salary dump. They realized they made a mistake by paying Jordan Poole. He didn't live up to that contract. He was too reckless at times. His shot selection was terrible. He took ill-advised shots. You saw a drop-off in efficiency. And he just wasn't working out. So the Warriors wanted to get from under that contract, and they did by trading him to Washington, and they were able to acquire Chris Paul. And they're going to put their bet, they're going to place their bet on the veteran.
Yeah, I think this is the best move for Chris Paul in his career. And I think it just depends on how many games the Warriors are up. Like if they're say if they're in the fourth seed, or something like that, or if they're in the fifth seed, you can give Chris Paul some games off. But where you won't have to use him a lot. And him coming off the bench as a sixth man, you also take a lot of pressure off him being injured. So other than that, I think this is a perfect scenario for Chris Paul. But will the Warriors be good enough to win a title? Of course, when you got Curry, Klay Thompson, and all of those, you're going to have an opportunity. You're going to have a shot when you get in the playoffs. But they won't. I don't think they're good enough to win a championship. I think their championship window has been closed.
I still have Denver number one. Of course, they're the defending champions. I still think they're the team to beat in the West. They got everyone's returning. Bruce Brown, I think, is their only free agent.
Yep.
Everyone else is slated to make a return next season. So Denver will be intact. They will still have the same makeup of last season. And Jokic has solidified himself as the most dominant big man in the league. So you still have him. And don't forget, you got the upstart Sacramento Kings. They are exceptionally well coached by Mike Brown. They're going to be around next year. They're going to be a fun team to watch. You got Kevin Huerter, who can light it up from beyond the arc. You got De'Aaron Fox, who was arguably the most clutch player last season. He was a clutch performer. The guy was unbelievable, had a fantastic year. Malik Monk, he had a great productive year as well. So the Kings are definitely on my list. And then you gotta put the Phoenix Suns up there somewhere too. I mean, even though they lack depth, that's the thing that's concerning about them, is that they really have no bench. They don't have a guy that can come off the bench and provide some offensive support. And then they don't really have a guy that can defend really well. I mean, everyone raved about them getting Bradley Beal and saying that this makes them a championship team, but to me, Bradley Beal is just a guy that jacks up a lot of shots. And and like Chris Paul, he's missed a lot of action too due to injury. So I don't know how that was a major upgrade for the Phoenix Suns. To me, it was a downgrade going from Chris Paul to Bradley Beal. I just didn't really understand that move. It was puzzling to me.
But how many teams though in the West you can actually, trust in the West? I mean, it's a lot of teams. To me, it's a lot of what ifs in the Western Conference. Like, what if the Clippers can stay healthy for once? We all know they would never be healthy. We can now get a sense they would never be healthy. In a full game season or in a playoff stretch, you can't trust them to be healthy. If they're healthy right then and there, if they're healthy, fully healthy, even in the playoff stretch, they could be borderline Western Conference. I think they were borderline Western Conference Finals if healthy, but we would never see them healthy. We would never see them actual healthy. I don't think Phoenix is making it to the finals. I'm still not sold on Phoenix. I think their depth, it depends on what they get. It depends on can they elevate their bench. You got $162 million tied in between the four guys that you got: DeAndre Ayton, Bradley Beal. You have Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. That's 162 mil combined. That's a lot of money combined. That ain't enough to even get a full blown bench unless you find a way to trade DeAndre Ayton. But they said they're not giving him up. So hey, they kind of stuck a little bit with that money right now. You don't know what the Dallas Mavericks are going to do. They're stuck in. Kyrie Irving is a free agent. Even if he does come back, are you really sold on the Dallas Mavericks? So the West is kind of a what if. And the only legit team and the Lakers, if they can sign their guys back, they already went to the Western Conference Final. So you can pretty much kind of pencil them in with a little bit of Denver, but I think Denver is a team you would choose to probably go back. Sacramento, I got to see one more. I got to see next year. I got to actually see one more year. Harrison Barnes is a free agent this year. We'll see if they get him back or let him walk. But I got to actually see one more year Sacramento, see if they for real or legit playoff team right there. But really, you only have Denver as of right now. You only have Denver right now is probably a clear-cut favorite that you think they can get back. It's a lot of what-ifs in the Western Conference.
What about the Eastern Conference? Is there a lot of what ifs? Because I have a question for you. In the Eastern Conference, we're gonna switch over to the Eastern Conference now because there's a topic that I want to get into, and it's regarding the Boston Celtics. Okay. And my question to you is this: Are the Celtics the clear favorites in the East?
Yes, it depends if Milwaukee get their guys back, but something telling me they're gonna lose Brook Lopez. Can they get Chris Middleton back? That's the problem. But I think as long as you got Giannis, they're fine. They will be fine. But other than that, go ahead.
I said, I was responding to one of our viewers.
I think Miami can get there. If they run it back, I think Miami still can get back. But I think it's only 3 legit teams in the Eastern Conference. That's Miami, Boston, and Milwaukee. The other teams, Philadelphia, they're not no championship contenders. They're not even a threat. They're not even a threat. Even on a worse year, they can't seem. It's something going to always stop them from getting what they need to be. So you don't count them as a championship contender. Atlanta, they're a mess. They're a mess all over. They all over the place to be that good. They just a flat out mess. They just a flat out mess. Cleveland, I don't think they're there yet. New York, I think they're second. I think New York can be a better team without Julius Randle. I think they can be a better basketball team without Julius Randle. But other than that, I don't think they're championship contenders. So I only think that there's 3 contenders in the Eastern Conference, and everybody else between Toronto, who's going to rebuild, between Charlotte. Now the Pacers have a chance to get to the playoffs. As Tyrese Halliburton is healthy. But other than that, I only see 3 legit teams in the Eastern Conference. That's it. I just see 3 legit teams. Now, if the Sixers are any type of good, they're going to get James Harden back, but you just cannot trust them. They're like the Cowboys of the Eastern Conference. They just like the Cowboys in the NFL. You know, the same thing, same shit, same second round and out. You just know they're going to end in the second round, so you don't really call that a championship contender. It's just the same shit with Philadelphia every single year. When you think they're there, they're not even there.
Yeah, they're not there mentally or physically. The Celtics, man, look, they have a top tier talent. They have top tier talent, I should say.
Yep.
They definitely have top tier talent. Where they lack is defense. That's what I mean. There was times last season they took nights off defensively. They didn't show up, and when you make how you pronounce his name? Udoka.
Ime Udoka.
Thank you, Ime. I couldn't spit it out, but Ime Udoka, he was a defensive-oriented coach, and when the team decided to depart from him, when they decided to, go their separate ways, I felt like Boston didn't bring that same defensive physicality that we saw in the prior year. So that was their biggest struggle. That was their Achilles heel, defense. And then fourth quarter letdowns. They had a lot of fourth quarter letdowns, Boston. Boston had some games they should have won. They really didn't have that true leader. They really didn't have that one player that stood out. Jaylen Brown had his days where he was inconsistent. I thought I thought the same about I'm going blank. Jason Tatum. He was another one that had his struggles, which pretty much hurt the team as well. But I do believe that the Celtics are the prohibited favorite in the East, following the blockbuster 3-team trade that acquired Porzingis from the Washington Wizards. Because I think that Porzingis can unlock Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think he can. I think that's another piece that you add to the puzzle. I mean, you're going to miss Marcus Smart. I think you're going to really miss him. I think literally he was the grit and the grind of the team. He was the heart and soul of the team. Derek White was arguably a third option. But you had to make a move. You had to make a move to make the roster slightly different, and they did that. So I think Porzingis with the size, and now that you have more depth in the front court, I think that could make the Celtics team more interesting and a better team, and it could possibly put them over the hump. Boston is still a good team, with or without Marcus Smart. They're still a good team. So I think, yes, I do agree that Boston is the favorites in the East.
Yep, I think they're the favorites of the Eastern Conference. It just depends on what Milwaukee bring back and what they get back in the free agency block. I think they're going to be right up there. And even though I think Miami still will be there, I think Miami, even if they keep the same team, I just think Miami still will be there. So we'll see what's going to happen in the Eastern Conference. I'm not too sold on the Eastern Conference. I don't think it's too many teams that can compete in the East. I think the Eastern Conference is just wide open, man. I just think the Eastern Conference is just wide open.
Yeah, it's more it's more obvious in the West who is the team to beat. In the East, there's like 3 teams that it's kind of up in the air, right? There's 3 teams that you can pick from. You can pick or choose. You really can't put your finger on which team it's going to be to come out of the East. But I like the Celtics. I just hope that someone takes control of that locker room. It's going to have to be Joe Mazzulla. He's going to have to take control of that locker room. And they're going to have to – Jason Tatum's going to have to be more of a leader. He's going to have to be a leader of man. Someone in there is going to have a loud voice. And I think Jason Tatum's going to have to be that guy. And Jason Tatum's going to have to be more productive scoring the ball. They're going to have to be productive on both ends of the floor. And that means defending very well and providing offense as well. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting, but let's get to some of our commenters here. RC Talks all basketball. He's one of my big supporters. I really appreciate it. He says Pacers went 33-47 last year. I feel like they can 100% grab another 8-9 wins, and at least finish over 500 and maybe grab a play-in spot.
Yeah, I think
that's doable. That's doable.
I think they can actually get a playoff spot, to be honest. I just by the East not being as well as good. I mean, like you got five squads. You got Miami for sure, a playoff spot. You got Milwaukee for sure. You got Boston for sure. They're gonna be probably fighting for the 1, 2, 3 seed. Philadelphia, they'll make it. They'll make a playoff spot. They'll make a legit playoff spot right there. They'll make a legit playoff spot. They just won't be no threat to anybody. They just won't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or nothing like that. But they will be for sure a playoff spot. And you got the Cleveland Cavaliers and you got the New York Knicks, depending on who they get if they sign Josh Hart right back. But other than that, yeah, you got those. They can be competing for a playoff, but definitely playing.
Yeah, but Donovan Mitchell can't be a no-show either. He can't be going missing in action. He's gonna have to take over when necessary, and that's what we didn't see from him in the playoffs. I mean, what is scoring 2 points going to do for your basketball team? Not much. RC also says, I'm going to say something. Embiid is wasting his time in Philadelphia. James Harden doesn't deliver when you truly need a leader. Philly will never get over the hump with this particular roster. Well, let's kind of sit back and reserve judgment on that. And the reason I say that is now they have a new coach. They have a winning coach. They have a coach that brings a championship pedigree. That is Nick Nurse. I think they hired him because they feel like he can get this team over the hump with this particular roster. Now it'd be interesting to see what James Harden does if he comes back or not. You're hearing a lot of rumors that surrounds him, rumors that he's going to go back to Houston. So it'd be interesting. And then I don't know what Tobias Harris situation is with his contract and everything. I believe he's the second highest paid player on the roster. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. I heard a little bit about it today, but I'm not sure. Maybe Coach Dante can spill the knowledge and get me up to speed what is going on with Tobias Harris. But I've heard a little something. We could talk about that before we get into our next topic.
I got you. I'll spill the beans. So James Harden has officially been ruled up out of Houston. Houston is moving on. So Houston will not be getting James Harden this year.
It didn't make sense anyway. It didn't make sense anyway. It
didn't make sense anyway for us to get him. But we are in close. I think more likely you will see Fred VanVleet be with the Rockets. You will see more likely him be with the Houston Rockets at this point. Even if the Rockets do give him $80 million, it will be just a 2-year contract. And there's no state taxes in Houston. So the Rockets have the most money in the NBA. So they can afford to pay that type of contract and also get another free agency guy. So just want to let you know the rumor is just want to let you know what's factual about the Rockets. They would not be getting James Harden. He will most likely go back to Philly. Now his contract will be probably Philly. I think Philly is going to pay him. I think Daryl Morey is going to pay him. He's eligible to get a 4-year deal worth $204 million over there, worth $35 million guaranteed over there. So 33-year-old James Harden will be making that kind of money over there in Philadelphia. Now the Tobias Harris situation, Daryl Morey want too much for him, a lot for him. You're not going to get a deal with Jared Allen or Evan Mobley for no Tobias Harris. You're not going to get a lot of good young assets for him. And Tobias Harris frustrated. His father frustrated, came out and said that they used my son the wrong way, that he was sitting in the corner, and which it was a lot of true. You watch a lot of their games, it was true. Sitting in the corner.
He didn't really have a role on the team.
Yes, his role was lost on the team.
Right. His role was lost, and he really didn't fit that scheme of theirs. And James Harden, he's part of the reason why, because he slows down the offense because he tends to double dribble.
Yep.
And Embiid also slows down the pace of the offense because he hesitates a lot.
Yep.
Just shoot the basketball. What are you doing? Why are you hesitating? So, I mean, there's a lot of things on this team that needs to change if they are to get over the hump. I think Nick Nurse brings a defensive mindset. I think he brings a winning attitude, and I think you'll see a different Sixers team next year. Is it enough to get them to the finals? Is it enough to finally win an NBA championship? We'll soon find out. And James Harden, where else would he go at this point in his career? I think he's going to finish his career in Philly. I mean, look, Daryl Morey is the general manager. They kind of kindled a great relationship during his time in Houston. So, I mean, Daryl Morey is fond of James Harden. He likes James Harden, but James Harden has showed time and time again that he can score during the regular season, but he is not built for the playoffs. Yep. I hate to say that. He is not built for the playoffs. He has too many postseason demons. He goes missing. There's nights where he has 15, 2 points, 10 points, not 30 points. He just looks pedestrian.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Where are you going to get with James Harden? And I get it. A lot of people get frustrated with James Harden because when his team needs him the most, he folds. He folds and he doesn't respond well while playing under pressure. He just doesn't. And that is the problem with the Sixers.
But can you say this though? Can you actually say, like, it's interesting how the Sixers are low. Like, if you just look at it, if you just say,
What's up, Melvin?
You think Nick Nurse can come in and actually turn it around? You wanted Brett Brown out. He's gone, and all of a sudden it didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference how they played. You wanted Doc Rivers out so bad. He didn't make a difference. You campaign hard to get Ben Simmons up out of there, which is that was rightfully so. He wasn't the problem this year. Now, if the Sixers fail this year, who's going to be the next problem? Is Nick Nurse is going to be the fault, or James Harden or Joel Embiid is going to be the fault? I think the Sixers coming into a conclusion that you're coming out of excuses sooner than later.
Yeah, and they've ran out of excuses as far as I'm concerned. Before we move on, we got another question here from RC Talks. Miami becomes the Eastern Conference faves if they can get a true big man and get Lillard from Portland. Right now, out east, I'm going to ride with Giannis and them, but they need to make improvements too. What's your take on that?
I think if Bucks can get Lopez and Middleton back, I think they can be fine. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be the same team. They're still going to be good. They're still going to be in that championship discussion as long as you got that guy Giannis. And if you can either bring back Lopez or Middleton, I think that will be fine. They will be fine. Miami, you can literally go with the same team this year and they can still get back in the same position because they're well coached. They're well coached and well-run organization, but they got free agents they got to take care of too, which is Matt Strus and Gabe Vincent. They got to figure out which one that they want to bring back, and I don't think they can bring both of them. But if they definitely can pull out a trade with Damian Lillard, I think they do. I think it will be enough for them to get over the hump. Now, will they beat Denver? That remains to be seen if they do get back to the NBA Finals. Will they beat Denver or will they play? That remains to be seen at that point right there. But I do kind of agree they can jump towards and being a favorite in the Eastern Conference if they can pull out Damian Lillard trade. So Porzingis is really going to help that team out. Going to help Boston out. If he stays healthy, you got another 20-point scorer who can protect the rim, and who's very good on pick and pop situation. It gives them Boston more floor spacing as well. So Porzingis is an underrated trade person for them. So if he stays healthy, he's a walking bucket. Porzingis is a walking bucket if he stays healthy.
Here's the deal with Miami. Miami's a great playoff team. The Heat culture is a real thing. They're built for the playoffs. But when they get all so close to winning the NBA championship, they can never finish the job. Why? Because by the time they get to the NBA playoffs, Jimmy Butler is banged up. He's bruised and battered. He's fatigued. He's exhausted. And he can't do it by himself. And there's no one else to help pull the weight on that team. I'm going to say this again about the Miami Heat. They need to team him up. They need to pair him up with another superstar.
I think they're one piece away. I think that's what I think.
One piece away, and they need Tyler Hero to be the player that they paid him to be.
Yep. They do need it. They need him to be healthy. They need him to be on the court and be healthy too. I think that's one thing that hurt them. But I do still think even with Tyler Hero, they're one piece off. They're just literally one piece off. If you can get there 2 out of the 4 years with Jimmy Butler and Bam alone, you're not far off. You just another superstar away. Just another star player away.
Exactly. And that's it. And like you said, they're basically a superstar away. They're just a star away. And if they could get that other superstar, I think they'll be in good shape to be able to contend for a champion. Any final thoughts before we?
Hey, let's move on. Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. So now we're gonna switch over to the NFL. We got some NFL talk, And man, let me tell you something. I've been hearing this debate all week. I mean, it's kind of gotten to me, and I feel like I gotta set it straight. I feel like I gotta set it straight. Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. Now, let me be clear on this. I like them both. Okay, they're both flashy quarterbacks. They're both gifted at the quarterback position, and they both mean a lot to their teams, right? They're valuable assets. The quarterback is the toughest position, one of the toughest positions to play in the National Football League. It's one of the most important positions to play. But this debate all week has stirred up, and everyone is talking about who's better. Who are you going to take? Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut? And people are saying, would you cut Jalen Hurts? Would you bench him? Or would you start him? Or would you start Lamar Jackson? I'm going to tell y'all like this, okay? And I know there's some Raven fans out there who would disagree with me, or they would say that, well, you're wrong. You don't know football. You don't know what you're talking about. To me, Lamar Jackson has been more unreliable because of injuries. Because of injuries late in the season, which has hindered his team's success. It kind of has set back the Baltimore Ravens. And I know the hopes are high this year for the Baltimore Ravens. There's so much optimism around the team because now you have a good defense. You have Roquan Smith. You have Marlon Humphrey. He's back. And then, of course, you got Lamar Jackson, and he's more content now that he has finally reached his payday, now that he finally has secured the bag. So now people are interested to see how he will perform next season on the football field. But I still got to give the slight edge to Jalen Hurts. Do you guys know the type of year that Jalen Hurts had? Jalen Hurts had an MVP type year. Do you see the numbers that he put up? And I don't want to hear that he had an easy schedule, that the Eagles didn't play anybody. I don't want to hear all of this because, look, at the end of the day, he led his team to a Super Bowl, and he clearly, if you want to be quite honest, in that first half of the Super Bowl, if you go back and you look at that game, Jalen Hurts was the star out there. He was the star of the night, and he had a great first half. The Chiefs defense couldn't stop him. They couldn't get off the field. Jalen Hurts was making throws down the field. He was finding his intended targets. He was moving the ball. He was scrambling. He was shifting. He was moving around the field, being a playmaker, being a dual threat quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the real deal. Jalen Hurts is this dude is good. And I don't understand the disrespect. I don't know why people make comments about him. But look, the dude is very mature. He has exceptional character. He's earned the respect of the locker room. They trust him. His players, his teammates, they like him. They have nothing but great things to say about him. And he's a true leader of men. He's a true leader of men. You've seen a quarterback who has grew up in the National Football League and who has put on his big boy pants. And if I had to take one quarterback to lead my team, it is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, man, I agree on that one only because Jalen Hurts have been on the field, but also not what he's been on the field, what he's doing on the field with the team, how much he elevated his game. Like I say, anytime, like I say, I think using the what has he played, what schedule they played a easy schedule. That's a weak narrative to use because everybody's schedule is tough. NFL is not hard. NFL, no team is easy on that schedule. Every team is going to come out and play hard. Every team is going to come out and play hard. So I don't think it's no such thing as an easy schedule. You just go out, you just play who you play. You can't control who you play on the actual schedule. But other than that, even when they played the best teams besides the Kansas City Chiefs, they have won. They have beaten. Even when they played the Cowboys, they have beaten, even though they did lose to the Cowboys. Even though when they played Minnesota, who was fraudulent, they have beaten when Minnesota was at their best. So they beaten some pretty good, very good team. Even in the playoffs, it was an argument, who the only team that can actually beat them was the 49ers. They've beaten them. So every argument, even though, you think that they had an easy schedule, they have beaten everybody that came up to play. Even when it got tougher, they have beaten them. So other than that, I think that's a weak argument if you're going to use them as the schedule. They haven't played anybody. Like I said, you just play who you play on your schedule. You can't control it, but you can't take the year away from that he had. If he didn't get hurt against Chicago, you remember he missed 2 games. He missed 2 games out. They ended up losing to the New Orleans Saints. Because Gardner Minshew, threw the Saints game pretty much. But other than that, he was an MVP. He was the MVP. You could have made an argument he was going to be the MVP if he played the whole season, if it wasn't for those 2 games that he kind of missed. But I will take Jalen Hurts right now to lead my team over Lamar Jackson. The only reason because of Lamar Jackson ain't been on the field. He has not played a full season the last 2 seasons. So he's great when he's on the field. But the problem is he's not durable. He's not on the field. You don't know if he's going to play a full season this year, even though with that contract that he got, it's a lot of pressure on him with that contract that he got. So other than that, I'm taking Jalen Hurts for right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm taking Jalen Hurts as well. So that's where I stand with that. It's Jalen Hurts all day. And if you disagree with me, let's fight. Let's argue. Come on. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I should make a video talking about this as well, but I wanted to put that to bed. It's Jalen Hurts. And RC has a comment here. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, that's a fire comparison talent-wise. I'm going with Lamar, but Jalen Hurts not far behind. If Lamar stay healthy, look out. That could be a good point too. I guess this upcoming season will be more telling. We'll be able to collect more information on both of these quarterbacks and get a broader understanding of who is more superior. I'm guessing if that's the word you're looking for, you want to say. But before we get out of here, guys, I want to get into this last topic, and this last topic is Dalvin Cook, guys. Dolphins offered Dalvin Cook a contract, and I want to get into that. And, I talked a little bit about this on a prior show that I did. I would like to hear from Coach Dante on this because the Miami Dolphins are eyeing Dalvin Cook. And, Dalvin Cook has traditionally been a high workhorse back with the Vikings. But the Dolphins running back room is kind of too deep for him to continue that role in South Florida. And maybe he wants a lesser role at this stage of his career. Maybe he wouldn't mind getting less carries, and being on a team that can actually contend for a championship. Because look, I'm going to say it like this, man. The Dolphins, watch out for the Dolphins next season. I'm not messing around. The Dolphins are for real. The Dolphins are going to be for real. Did you see how well they played last season under Mike McDaniel? And do you know how much speed that team has? They have a ridiculous amount of speed. There's talent all over the football field. They have top-tier talent. I think their quarterback situation is a question mark with Tua, but I think that'll get better as well if Tua can stay healthy. Hopefully he doesn't get another concussion. I think that's everyone's concern. Is another concussion, because as we know, he's been concussed. What was it, 3 times last season?
Yeah, he was concussed 3 times. Yep.
Yeah. So that's something to pay close attention to, because that can really be career threatening for him and his football career. So that's just the only question mark there. But then you look at Tyreek Hill, you look at the receiving core, Jaden Waddle, Waddle, however you pronounce his name. I always butcher his damn name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. That guy it can burst out in speed. He's dangerous in open field. I mean, the Dolphins are just a fun team, and I can't wait to see them play against the Buffalo Bills again. I've been enjoying that matchup. We saw that snowball fight that they had last year in the snowy conditions out there. And man, I mean, that was a fun football game. I mean, that was a close game. It went down to the wire. But this Dolphins team, man, I really like their chances to land Dalvin Cook. I think that's a good situation for him. I think he'll be great. I don't think there's a better option for him. But if he's looking for carries, Miami might not be the place. But I think he'll fare well there. I think he'll do well in that city. It'll be a homecoming for him. He's from the area. He's a Florida native, and I think bringing him on would be great. I mean, he has great character. He could be a contributor, and I mean, he could take the load off of those other backs that they have as well. So I like the idea, and I like that they're flirting with the idea. I see him as a big part of their team and just the fabric, and a person who can really contribute to the locker room. So, what do you think about Dalvin Cook possibly joining the team?
So he did say he wanted to go wherever DeAndre Hopkins goes. He wanted to go wherever DeAndre Hopkins goes. So he did come out and say that. But I think Miami is a perfect team for him to go with, man. You got a good running back room over there. I think he immediately goes to the number one position over, even though I think Raheem Mostert and you got Jeff Wilson over there, who's pretty good over there. But I think he's a better back than both of those guys. He still had over 100,000 yards rushing last year, so he's still pretty good. I just think the only reason why Minnesota shopped him because Alexander Madison, their running back that they got right now, he's a better fit for what they do with Kevin O'Connell does at this moment than Dalvin Cook. So other than that, I think Dalvin Cook will be perfect in Miami. I think he's from Miami, if I'm not mistaken, at that moment. So I think, man, that will be a good fit for him in Miami. But no doubt about it, Miami is a very good football team. Miami is a very good football team. I got them as a wild card team this year. Don't be surprised if they can win the division against the Buffalo Bills, because they showing some signs of self-destructing a little bit. Stephon Diggs, he's getting all frustrated about the offense, and I don't think he's frustrated about his numbers, or he's not.
Because he doesn't have a say in the play calling. Yeah. Come on now, dude.
He doesn't have a say. Yeah, he doesn't have a say in the play caller, but I also think he expects them to
childish to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what more do you want? I've said that.
He's getting his numbers. He's getting his numbers, so the play caller ain't that bad.
He's getting his numbers, and he's getting paid.
Yep.
He's getting paid, and he has one of the best quarterbacks in the league throwing to him. I mean, what more could you want?
Yep, but he's getting his numbers.
What the hell do you want, dude?
He's getting all his accolades. He's getting all 1,000, 1,400 yards and stuff like that. He's getting the ball.
He's cleaning up.
Yep.
So I mean, he really should have no complaints at all. I mean, so what if you're not involved in the play calling? Just go out there and get your targets and handle your business and get to the end zone and score for your team.
Yep.
RC says Sports Judge and Coach Dante always put in that work, content, fire, hard-working cats. Salute to you too, brother. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words and the thoughts, and more importantly, thank you for tuning in to the show. We really appreciate it. We look like we ran out of time, Coach.
Yep.
Before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts?
Hey man, just waiting on free agency coming up Friday, man. You should know, y'all should pretty much know who's gonna sign where by pretty much tomorrow, pretty much. Because we getting closer and closer for these deals to be signed, but they cannot officially sign them until the 8th of July. But you should know that you should get some recognition on where these players are going to go tomorrow, because sometimes they come out later, they come out earlier than what you expected. So other than that, I will be covering free agency. I will be covering NBA free agency on Friday at 5 o'clock my time. So I will be covering that. And like I say, I will be spending long hours covering that, going over all the moves and stuff like that. But other than that, man, thank you, man, for having me on, man. Like I say, I'm one DM away. I'm one DM away if you need me.
Yeah, man, you do great stuff, and I appreciate your hard work and your determination and your diligence. I mean, you really put in the work, you grind, you hustle, and I'm always seeing you on a platform. Every time I look around, I'm seeing your face on the screen doing something. So, I mean, hey, salute to you too. Yep. Hey, salute. I'm serious though. Salute to you, because you doing your thing. You doing your work. You keep hustling and grinding. And before we get out of here, tell the people where they can find you.
Hey man, y'all can find me at Coach Dante on YouTube. Y'all can find me on the Empire Sports Network on the morning show every single morning. Y'all can find me on me and Key got a show 7200 seconds. We on our 60th ever on 60 about 65 64 episodes, so we on our way to 70.
Great show, by the way. Yeah. You guys really want to check that out. That's some great stuff. I check it out.
Hey, we would love to have you as a guest, man. If you're willing to come on, we would love to have you as a guest.
Hey, anytime. Just I'm one DM away. You know where to find me. You can hit me up, and our viewers out there, they know where to find me as well. You guys can find me on Twitter, SportsJudge85. You guys can find me on TikTok. Help me out on TikTok. Like and follow on TikTok. I'm the Sports Judge on TikTok. You can't forget to put "the" in front of Sports Judge 85. Sports Judge 85 at TikTok. And you guys can also find me on YouTube. This show is also streaming live from my YouTube channel as well. Just type in the Sports Judge and I should pop up on YouTube. And you guys can find me right here where you guys are watching live. If you guys are watching live from this platform, which is on the Sports Judge page. Check out the Sports Judge page. Please like and follow. Hit the like and follow button. Thank you guys so much. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I want to thank you guys because I know there's a variety of choices out there. There's a lot of great shows to choose from. There's a lot of wonderful and talented content creators out there. And I'm looking at one on the right of my screen, and there's many more. And shout out to the Sports Empire. Shout out to ASAP Sports Network. Shout out to the Guys Huddle. Shout out to everyone in this business who's grinding. We really appreciate it. Much love to you all. Much love to everyone that's watched the show. Much love to the guys at Unscripted. Much love to the Notoriety Marketing Agency. Appreciate the great work that you guys do as well. I'm giving a shout out to everyone because, hey, you know how I roll, Dante. I want to see everybody win. I want to see everybody make it. I want to see everyone shine in this business. And I want to encourage all of you to keep going. You guys got this. You guys can do this. Anything is possible in life. Don't let anyone tell you any different. So we'll see you guys soon. I'll be back in another episode. When I'll be back, I don't know. But soon, let's just say soon, I'll be back for another episode of Speaking with Judgment. This is your host, Jonathan Mathis, a.k.a. the Sports Judge. And for Coach Dante and myself, we're checking out now. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care, everyone. See you guys next time. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. See you next time.
Thank you so much for having me on.